Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst and the great Malabite, Emmanuel Ifeni.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rufai.
Good morning.
Rufai without L. You see why I always stress that. You were called El Rufai yesterday. Good morning, Ayo, and you're welcome. Back to the beat. Now, we'll start the review with this day Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, Komolafe, there's now regulatory certainty in oil gas sector. Says oil risk count on the rise, now 25. Reveals $880 million, 40% of $2.2 billion lost to crude oil metering errors in 2022. NMPC, Nigeria expecting 20 billion foreign direct investments in upstream oil gas sector by 2024. Country redeems $500 million Eurobond obligation to international creditors. IOCs demand fiscal incentives enabling business environment. Yes, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission CEO, Mr. Gbenga Komolafe, yesterday, of course, talking about the investment is gradually returning to the upstream sector, and this has led to the increase of the country's oil rig count to 25, up from the previous 10. Well, we'll say that is good news if investment is now flowing into the oil and gas sector. But when you hear things like metering errors, losing money to metering errors, then you ask, which age are we operating on? Is this age of technology, or we are still somewhere back? But these are the kind of things that happens in our oil sector. And we hope before long, it will not be a story to be in the newspapers. But welcome development that there's increase in foreign direct investment in the oil sector. And by 2024, of course, according to the NMPCL, foreign direct investment will hit $20 billion. Now, we look at other stories quickly. Now, the Guardian newspaper, inflation and higher education. Tough times for students, parents at schools, hike fees by 200%. We are talking of federal and state universities. Forget about the private universities for this discussion, because private university is business and pure business, and those who can afford go there. But we're talking of public universities, and with this kind of increase in the face of the inflation that had just been further heightened by the removal of fuel subsidy and the harmonization of the foreign exchange market, then you can imagine what Nigerians are going through. We hope. Well, there is a student's loan which the Tinubu administration has signed into law, and how this will ameliorate the situation left to be seen. But again, for parents, these are not easy times, clearly. Now, the Punch newspaper, NLC protests Tinubu's 500 billion naira subsidy palliative, demands 300% pay rise. Reps sit on 500 billion naira subsidy relief request today. Federal government labor for fresh negotiations. 500 billion naira not enough for 125 million poor Nigerians affected by deregulation. And this is the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress making this claim. Of course, the outcome of the discussion between the federal government delegation and Labour is here to be made public as to the nature of palliative, but the president is asking for 500 billion. Well, if it is cash transfer, because the president hinted as much yesterday, then I don't see how that will really deal with the issues at hand, because the hardship is pervasive, is permeating, and 5,000 to families may not just be the trick. We hope there are other measures that we put in place along with this cash transfer to really make the impact that is desired. Of course, the Nation newspaper, we look at the story above the masthead. CBN directs payment of dollar receipts in Naira. Ladoja on Makinde, Olubadan, takes on Makinde, Olubadan. Oba's overstool. Of course, the last is yet to be heard of that squabble between the governor of Oyo State and the attempt to rearrange things in Ibadan land. Of course, former governor Ladoja, one of the top chiefs in Ibadan land, and somebody who is also in line waiting to be an Olubadan someday. Daily Trust newspaper, Chief of Army Staff to Plateau Governor, bring all on board to end killings. Says dialogue vital solutions. Troops killed 3 gunmen in Mangu. Forecloses amnesty for bandits. We are at a challenging junction. Mofwang, the governor of Plateau State, there's still fire on the mountain there, or fire on the plateau, as we put it. But if there are political issues to be dealt with, all stakeholders should come to the table, deal with this issue so that the killings can end. But for the security agencies, they have a duty to prevent these killings. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, jihadists from Niger, Mali, Libya, taxing Nigerian farmers, according to a member of the House of Rep, who raised this issue yesterday on the floor of the House of Representatives, adds jihadists work with local bandits to make life unbearable for farmers, as reps ask military to deploy more personnel, equipment to comb forest. Troops clear Mangu ambush, neutralizes 3 bandits, recover weapons. It's unacceptable for bandits from outside Nigeria to tax farmers. The Middle Belt Forum making that statement there. Arrest, repatriate the bandits to their countries can't. CDS expresses concern over delay in trial of terror suspects. Well, the Daily Sun newspaper, army to governors, give us free hands to deal with terrorists, rejects call for amnesty. November last year, the then President Muhammadu Buhari gave the military the free hand, in his own words, to go after these bandits and terrorists. I suppose that free hand is still subsisting. So I don't know what the army is still looking for, another free hand from governors. Well, if we know the kind of hamstring impeding our military, I'm sure the Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should give that free hand once and for all, so that we stop talking about free hand by our military to deal with people who are killing citizens as if they're killing chickens. No, that is not going to, that should not continue. Now, if we look at the foreign newspapers quickly, the Washington Post alarms for planet on edge, flooding, fires, and lethal heat. Yes, warming's link, extreme event is clear. Yes, the link between warming and extreme events is clear. What isn't, experts say, is when we will act. Of course, the world is hotter than it has been in 1,000 years, and it's as if every alarm bell on earth were ringing. That is how the Washington Post is reporting the situation around the world. In Vermont, 2 months of rain fell in 2 days. India, Japan experienced extreme flooding, while in Texas, Florida in the USA, in China, in Spain, scorching heat is, of course, dealing with the people there. The earth is crying. Yes. Rufai, yes. Ruben, and Ayo.
Yeah, Emmanuel, no. Okay, I don't want to talk
local
politics and all of that, although the subsidy palliatives that the president is talking about, we'll have plenty of time to still talk about it. When the palliatives come, the management of the palliatives will be the major question. But I think today it's important for us on this program to celebrate Professor Wole Soyinka, who turns 89 today. He was born July 13, 1934. Free-thinking intellect, a national treasure, a man whose contributions have been very monumental and a source of inspiration for generations of Nigerians in politics, in culture, and art. And even at 89, who continues to give and serve his country. A man whose writings, have propelled, generations of Nigerians who believe in justice, who believe in humanity, and who have also been inspired to write. He's a national treasure. And as he turns 89 today, he deserves to be celebrated. And the celebration has continued on many fronts. Writing essays, events by many NGOs, to celebrate a man who is appropriately a conscience of the nation. And just to add, I consider myself privileged to be a Soyinka scholar. And I do not say that lightly. Yeah. I'm a Soyinka scholar.
Any pepper soup in Jollof as a Soyinka scholar, Ruben?
You must take
responsibility.
Thank you very much.